PWNcast.
And another exciting episode of PWNcast. It's going to be another duo cast.
Duocast?
I'm here with Pat again, and
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, Pat, what are you drinking over there?
Mountain Dew.
What kind of Mountain Dew?
Voltage.
Because this episode's brought to you by Mountain Dew Voltage, now available at Circle K.
No, available on Circle K. Yes.
Not really. Well, they should give us an endorsement deal, though. I mean, we do drink enough of it.
It, fuels the show.
It fuels...
It fuels my part of the show, at least.
The caffeine, I need it!
I can't do it without it.
The diabetes and caffeine.
Absolutely.
And so, today, I believe you're the one that's like, hey, I have a topic for once in my
I do.
life.
I'm not sure which one to do first, though.
Well, what is our main topic for today?
Our main topic, at least from what we discussed, is going to be a little thing involved, a little, I guess, scandal, or I don't know what to call it.
Well, I thought you had something about games with being reviewed.
Are we using that as the main?
Yeah.
I thought we were going to have the whole
that's
light thing as...
Oh, God,
okay.
no.
Our main topic is... feel free to chime in at any point, because I know you'll probably have some that come up at one point, is games that we like that everyone else hates.
Yeah.
They got terrible reviews that people didn't like. They got bad reviews that we enjoyed.
I think when we did it, I think it was games that we hate that
everyone else
likes.
enjoys.
This time we're doing the opposite
inverse
of that.
that.
Games that we love that got shit reviews that everybody hates. So yeah, this is going to be a pretty short list because there's not very many actually.
No,
but we have other things to talk about. Mostly, today, as we're recording this, the game Metro Last Light,
which looks really good.
Yeah,
very promising trailer.
Metro 2033 was kind of a sleeper hit. I mean,
good.
I've never heard a bad thing about that game. Everybody that's played it has told me this game is amazing. It's awesome. Great survival. A great survival game, basically. Yeah. You got to deal with radiation.
It does what it's supposed to do very well.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So Metro Last Light, the sequel, Metro was going to be. I think it was going to be published by THQ. Then THQ went out. So
and they went out of business.
I don't exactly remember who picked it up. I believe they're Deep Silver, I think, is the publisher.
Okay.
And the thing that is really irking me about this, and I've read about this, some people on YouTube have already expressed their discontent with the fact that with Metro Last Light, when you pre-order the game, one of the pre-order bonuses, I'm putting that in quotation marks, you can't see
insert gratuitous air quotes.
Yeah, I mean, freaking quote this thing to the point where you can't even see bonus. Alright, that's how many quotation marks are over this. Is the inclusion of what's called Ranger Mode. Now, Ranger Mode was a mode in Metro 2033, which removes your HUD, makes it more of a survival horror game, where it's a more realistic and difficult experience. It's like a very hard mode. Mm-hmm. Metro Last Light is going to include that, but only if you A, pre-order the game, or B, pay $5 to buy the hard mode, which I might add is on the disc. It's not something that you just download and it's an expansion. This is something that is on the disc and is locked.
Content locked on disc, like we've been discussing for quite some time with games.
We've talked about locked content on disc till we were blue in the face.
Exactly.
This is still a thing that I don't understand why developers do this. I can understand if they wanted to make Ranger Mode a timed exclusive. Like, if you showed your support pre-ordering our game, you're going to be able to play the very hard mode before everybody else. Yeah. And then, a month down the line...
Unlock it for everybody so that everyone's
for free.
Able to do it. Exactly. So you don't have to pay $5 for a setting.
Yes.
It's a setting.
Literally, so if you actually want to have smarter AI, you need to pay for it.
Exactly.
And I think the real kicker is that when you go to the site for Metro Last Light, is that it tells you what all you get with it. You get like a modified Russian rifle, you get some in-game currency, and then you get the Ranger mode, and then the little subtitle says that Ranger mode allows you to play the game as it was meant to be played.
Yeah.
That is adding insult to injury. So not only are people who don't pre-order your game like me, I wasn't going to pre-order Last Light at all, and I damn sure I'm not going to pay him $5 for a hard mode.
Yeah.
The fact that they have the audacity to put something like that on there, which was included for free in the first installment.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think of this. And the only thing I can say is, if you are one of those people that is going to pay $5 for this, you are a fucking idiot. I'm going that far. You are an idiot. Do not support this, because this is one of the reasons why we can't have nice things in video games anymore.
Exactly, because the more people are willing to say, okay, well, I'm going to pay this $5 to unlock this anyway, or I'm going to pay $10 for an alternate costume in a fucking fighting game with all the Marvel vs. Capcom bullshit.
Yeah,
all costumes and everything. You know, the more people are willing to actually pay for it, instead of saying, guys, this is not okay.
Yeah.
90% of the developers that are doing this have been doing this long enough. They should know better.
Well, the thing that astounds me is the fact that there are so many people. The only reason why this kind of development seems to keep on being proliferating. Blech. Sorry, I'm like tired right now.
Okay.
All right, I've only had like 3 hours of sleep. I'm sorry.
It's good.
I'm slurring my words.
It's okay.
But the only reason why this is prevalent within the industry is because so many people cave in and give into it instead of saying no.
No. Exactly.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to pay $5 for 3 costumes in a fighting game.
Exactly.
I'm not going to pay $5 for a hard mode. I'm not going to pay $20 for the other half of the game, Operation Raccoon City.
Exactly. You know, because what's the
people who buy it are part of the problem.
Absolutely.
They're not helping.
Yeah.
They're saying it's okay. And that's wrong. It's wrong on so many levels.
You know, because but to a certain extent, it's like it's like this. It's the same reason that there hasn't been any monumental change in any moves forward as far as design and production value for those blasted Call of Duty games.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people are willing to accept them as they are, instead of demanding a higher quality product that actually had time and effort put into it.
Well, at least so far, the Call of Duty franchise hasn't stooped so low to the point where you're having microtransactions in the game where you have to buy camo and all of that.
Exactly. But you understand my point. It's,
at least to my knowledge, I don't know.
I have no idea either.
Yeah.
But indifference of the consumer is becoming laziness on the point of the developer or the manufacturer. They're being lazy and milking us for money because we're okay with it.
And I think with what you just said about developers milking money from the consumers, I think that is a perfect segue into something that you brought up earlier that I think you wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
And that is the fact that right now, as it stands, the industry, whether you want to admit it or not, is going through a recession/depression. All right? And if you want to deny that, the only thing I can say is look around you. THQ no longer exists. LucasArts no longer exists. All these other developers, which had plenty of money flowing through them at one point, are now, like right now, EA is going down.
Yeah.
EA has been going down for the past year.
And unfortunately, it seems to me that with a lot of stuff, a lot of the developers, I mean, BioWare's all but lashed themselves to the front of the Normandy and put it toward the sun, and they're planning on riding the front of the Normandy straight into the sun.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite solar radiation in the galaxy.
Exactly. The only one that hasn't, forgive the Star Fox analogy, the only one who hasn't lashed themselves to the front of the R-Wing heading toward the ocean is Nintendo.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on that.
Okay.
Because Nintendo has been bleeding money for the past year and a half. The Wii U didn't sell anywhere close to what they wanted.
I legitimately forgot about the Wii U.
Yeah.
I forgot it even existed.
It's so easy, isn't it?
And I work in a game store. I should not forget that something exists.
Okay, now tell me, in your game store, do you even have any Wii U's that people can buy?
I don't think so.
Do you even carry Wii U games?
We do. A very limited amount, but they hardly sell, and I have never seen a single console move through the store.
Because I shop at the store that you work at, and like for the PlayStation Vita...
We have the Vita games move a lot, and we have the Vitas that move relatively...
When I first bought mine, they only had 5 different Vita games in there.
And there's been a couple people that have come in and bought them.
Okay.
So there's a couple that have moved out.
And I mean, I could have gone to GameStop and I could have gotten this game cheaper. I was going to buy Persona 4.
Yeah.
I went on ahead and I bought it from them anyway because fuck it. I'd rather support them in GameStop.
Exactly.
I'm willing to flesh out an extra $5 to support that store.
Because we make an honest living.
You look back at 2007 and 2008 at the way the industry was then, and it was so profitable.
Yeah.
For gaming. I mean, you had the 360 came out in 2006.
And it blew everything else away.
It took off. The PlayStation 3, people were actually dumb enough to buy it for $800.
Yeah.
But you know what? It took off.
That's okay. It took off and it sold. It sold like hotcakes. So did the 360.
Yeah, but...
Well, later on in its life cycle.
And we've already talked about how Sony has been bleeding money on the PS3, but... You know, gaming at that time was a lot more profitable than it is now. Now, you've noticed that since, like, 2009... onward,
it's on a decline again.
Developers have started implementing things like online passes,
but
milking you for DLC, microtransactions.
Which I encountered another video a couple of days ago that pointed this out. If you're listening to this, because essentially what we're getting at is we're leading up to another game crash. It's inevitable, and technically, if you want to look at, I guess, the symptoms, I guess, for the crash of '83, it's already here. Yeah. Heads of development houses are leaving. Founders are leaving. People are bowing out of the industries. Developers are getting pushed out of the stock market, out of the stock exchange.
Despite how much I do not like this man, I respect him for what he did, and at the time he did it because he knew it was coming.
Who?
Cliff Bleszinski.
Because he left.
He jumped ship. He knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And decided, you know what, I'm going to get out of this before it gets even worse.
Exactly. And
I respect the man for doing
smart.
that. Granted, I fucking hate Gears of War. I hate all of... Pretty much the games that he's come out with from the past 10 years, I have not enjoyed.
Oh, okay.
Unreal Tournament was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, he did some stuff on that, but...
He did. And Bulletstorm was alright. Was he involved in Bulletstorm?
I don't remember.
But Bulletstorm was fun. I enjoyed it.
But I do respect him for what he did and how he jumped ship before it got even worse.
And if you look at the way he went about it, it wasn't just, I'm out. He said, this is what I'm doing, this is why, and this is where I'm going. You have me for this much longer. And I think it was Epic, I think. Yeah, and Epic said, okay, help us with, can we do this, and this before you go? And they did, and then he left.
Yeah.
And it was gone. It was good. It was done. He did it with a lot of class, and he let the people that he was working with know that he was planning on jumping ship.
I mean, like, here's another thing right here, just going down the list. Square Enix loses $134 million in Q1 of 2013.
To be entirely honest, I'm not surprised with anything involving Square Enix anymore.
I mean, at this point, they might as well hit that emergency switch which says release Final Fantasy VII Remake now.
Exactly.
Because, I don't know whether or not it's because, with Japanese companies, sometimes they have this overwhelming pride.
It's the pride. It's Japanese developer arrogance.
Yeah. The pride, the arrogance. But they need to understand that their pride and arrogance... They're paying the price for it, obviously.
Obviously, $134 million in the first quarter.
Of this year. What games for Square Enix came out for quarter one? I think Tomb Raider. Wait. And even then they were bitching about that.
They did, in, I think, a couple other countries, they did handle the publishing and release for a couple other titles. So they did make a partial profit off of some other games.
But I
can't remember what exactly.
They were bitching about Tomb Raider, saying, "Oh, well, it only sold 3 or 4 million copies in its first week of release."
Yeah,
fuck you.
Well, but if you think about it, unless it's a multi-million copies selling franchise, especially if it's an established IP like Tomb Raider or Resident Evil, Mega Man, stuff like that, the iconic things. Unless you sell multiple millions, you're scrapped. Dead Space 3, DMC Devil May Cry, they're completely disregarded because they didn't meet the sales projections.
Mm-hmm. Well, Capcom even later turned around on DMC and said, you remember how before that Capcom was going on about how, oh yeah, Ninja Theory, they're making this awesome game or whatever, it's going to be so sweet. And then about 4 months after the release, they go, oh yeah, we don't like the quality of what our outsourced developers are doing. We think that it's inferior quality to what we have. So,
and to be entirely honest, it is.
Yeah, I mean, it is, but it's the fact that they're shitting on something that they were in favor of.
Yeah, they were in favor of a few months before. And I have DMC. Still play it to this day. I enjoy the game.
Traitor.
Shut up. I did enjoy it to a very surprising degree. I have my issues with the game, but I got over it and I enjoy it for what it is, and that's just a straightforward action game that doesn't require any kind of brain power. It requires as much of your processing power as Gears of War does. It's the same reason I keep Gears of War, because occasionally I just want to sit in my chair with my controller, and by the end of the night have a puddle of drool that I can swim in.
Speaking of Gears of War, I think since the last time that we recorded, I think you've come into something that you have acquired something.
I have a 360 now. Which
you're only
amazing.
7 years too late.
7 years too late. But I do have a 360 now, and
with the new Xbox being unveiled in 8 days, as a matter of fact.
Yes,
8 days from now.
I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on.
Hopefully, I will be out of town when that happens. I won't be able to watch it. So
I will. If you are, I'll make sure that I forward everything I can to you. So
I'm sure I'll be bitching about it on Twitter.
Oh,
of course. God damn it! This is fucking bullshit. I don't need another cable box.
Absolutely.
Get ready for that.
How nice. I'm not sure what. I don't know what to go in thinking yet.
Well, because we don't know anything.
Well, but there's also. I've heard multiple different arguments from people, especially at work, saying that there doesn't need to be another console. It's not time for a new console yet, which I disagree with to a great degree.
Kind of overdue.
It's very much overdue.
Yeah, considering how fast computers are advancing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you were to go out right now and assemble a top of the line gaming computer with the latest graphics card,
You'll be outdone in 2 months.
It makes your 360 or PS3 into a toaster. That's what it is.
Exactly.
In terms of what you can do with it.
Something that I saw on the internet the other day. Random as shit moment. Somebody made a toaster out of an NES.
That's actually pretty sweet.
It's pretty freaking sweet.
I want a toaster NES.
I want a toaster NES too. And then, they switched the innards. The toaster is now the NES, and the NES is now the toaster.
Doesn't the Angry Video Game Nerd have one of those?
I don't know.
I think he has one of those, actually.
I don't watch the Angry Video Game Nerd.
I used to watch him, a long time ago, but I'm almost certain that he had an NES that
I'm not sure. I think he did have an NES that was a toaster as well, but I'm not entirely sure. I know I've seen it a couple of times.
You put the game in, you push it down, and I think he had one.
I'm not sure.
I haven't watched it forever, so I couldn't tell you.
I've seen a few of them, but I have no... there's no...
Yeah.
Sorry, no, anyway. Completely unrelated.
What have you been playing on your newly acquired...
My newly acquired 360. I've been attempting to play Force Unleashed.
I'm sorry.
But every time I do it, I get a discrete error and two red lights. Nothing else does it.
Just the Force Unleashed.
Just Force Unleashed.
Does not compute.
Bullshit.
Ruins cannon. Spits out of...
Ruins cannon, just shoots it across the room.
Spits out a DVD drive.
I've been playing... Let me start with the
Crisis 2.
Myth ones
I think
first,
I remember you playing
Crisis 2. Crisis 2, Gears 2, Fallout 3, which I'm enjoying the ever-loving hell out of.
Fallout 3 is such a great game.
I love Fallout 3.
Fallout 3.
Fallout 3!
Harold? No.
Lost Planet, which I am enjoying the hell out of that as well. Again, it's a very...
first one or second one?
First one.
Okay.
I'm starting with the first one, actually doing it properly.
Okay.
Which, again, as far as I can tell so far, it's kind of another mindless third-person shooter.
Yeah.
Which that very well may take the place of Gears of War in my library from now on.
A little bit of foreshadowing into what our main topic is. Lost Planet is one of those games where everybody fucking shits on that I
love Lost Planet. Yeah. It's wonderful. Yeah. I played it on a demo system in a Toys R Us with you remember Charlie
back in 2007.
Yeah. We played it right before we went to see we were going to see some movie over the summer, and we sat there for an hour playing Lost Planet on the demo system in a Toys R Us because it was that good.
Yeah, it's a good game. I like it. I didn't really like the sequel, but
one that actually it could be on my list for our main topic, but I'm not really sure. It just depends on what audience you talk to. Dynasty Warriors Gundam 3. Because I am a Gundam fan. I'm a huge mech person. And it's the only Gundam game that's in English that actually includes the Unicorn Gundam. So
Gundam Unicorn.
Shut up.
What is that, like the Blade Runner Gundam? That's going deep. That's going deep right there. But which cut?
I'm sure if they could see my face.
Oh yeah. You're
God.
You see what I did there?
Oh my God.
I mean, but how do you know that Gundam is not just another mobile doll? I mean, how do you know? That's going even deeper, actually. God.
There's a pilot, though.
What?
There's a pilot, and he actually gets out of it.
Oh, well.
Yeah, if the pilot didn't leave...
That's a dead
giveaway. If the pilot didn't leave the Gundam, I'd understand. That would be a legitimate claim. What else am I playing?
Didn't you download Blood Dragon?
Not yet.
You haven't downloaded Blood Dragon
No,
yet?
but I'm playing Blood Dragon with you.
Which, yeah, okay, here's the thing about that. At the time that we're recording
we
this...
We need to touch on this.
We've done 3 parts of Blood Dragon, and every time we've gotten together 2 more times since this, and we've attempted 4 times, 2 times each time we've gotten back together to do this, to try to record. My computer's just like...
No Blood Dragon for you.
10 minutes while we're capturing, it's just like, I'm going to kick you off into Windows Basic and shut off your capture software.
Absolutely.
So what did I do with my computer?
It just completely resets it.
I defaulted it to Windows Basic. Try that on for... I don't know why. It only does that with Blood Dragon.
Maybe because Blood Dragon's all shiny and pretty and... Oh my God, neon! You know, shit like that.
It's getting too distracted by
Exactly, it's too
Dragon.
distracted by watching Blood Dragon.
Such a great game. I've also played and finished Bioshock Infinite. Gone all the way through. I want to review that. But the thing about reviewing Bioshock Infinite is that there's a lot of things that I want to touch on, but it requires me to spoil parts of the game.
So just put... I know this is like a cheesy way, kind of a cheap way out. Just put a spoiler alert.
Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over stuff about the game that I like that doesn't include spoilers or whatever.
Yeah.
Kind of give an abridged version of it, and then go into the meat of it. Because I could easily talk about this game and review this game and talk about it for an hour straight.
There's so much stuff.
There are so many things about that game that I absolutely love, but when it comes to people saying Game of the Year 2013, I'm going to have to disagree. And I know that's like sacrilege right now because that's the front runner for Game of the Year 2013.
It really is.
Granted, the year's not over yet. We haven't got everything, but I can understand why people would nominate it for Game of the Year.
Absolutely, yeah. It definitely merits consideration.
But here, I've spent, like, ever since I was in the 5th grade, reading science fiction. All right, I've read just about every single major form of science fiction you can think of.
Yeah.
I've dealt with novels on time travel, on cybernetics, Star Wars,
travel, aliens,
the Final Frontier.
Exactly.
I read all of those Star Wars expanded universe novels up to a certain point. Once they started doing stuff for like the prequels, like in between 2 and 3, I'm like, fuck that.
We're done.
No. Since I'm so well versed into things that deal with multi-dimensional travel, time travel, and things like this, the plot to Bioshock Infinite, you can see what is happening from a mile away. Stuff that's supposed to be a major twist or a major turn in the plot, I was able to see it from a mile away.
Because you know what you're looking for, though.
Exactly. Because the second, when this isn't really much of a spoiler because you can see this in a trailer.
Yeah.
The second that it displayed the ability for a character to open a hole to another dimension, I knew exactly how this was going to go. It answered so many questions that I had up to that point. And this is probably about maybe 2 hours into the game. And I'm already guessing what the end game is of how this plot is going to be. Now, granted, I was not 100% correct in some aspects. But if I would have to give a percentage, I would say I was about 75% correct on what was going to happen. So, also, the Lutece twins are, like, the best characters ever.
Yeah.
Just saying. Also, Songbird, Character of the Year 2013.
And I agree that...
Songbird, Character of the Year 2013.
I'll definitely agree that Infinite doesn't warrant the Game of the Year at this point.
I wouldn't even say buy it for $60. I would say buy it for $30 or rent it. You should play it. I'm not discouraging people from playing it. You should play it.
But you don't think
I don't think it warrants a $60 price tag now. But I'll go even further into that when I actually do my review of Bioshock Infinite.
I agree, but I'm also coming from I don't think anything should be chosen should be nominated as Game of the Year yet. Let the developers release the rest of the shit they're going to release before you decide what's going to win.
We still got the Deadpool game and The Last of Us. We still have all these other things and the next Call of Duty game, which we already know is going to be shit.
Ghosts.
Yep.
Yeah, they're Call of Duty, Splinter Cell, number 87.
Call of Duty. No. Ugh, Splinter Cell.
That's what it's supposed to be. Is like,
I have
it's Call of Metal Gear.
I have a good friend of mine who loves Splinter Cell, and even on a few occasions he's joked with me saying, "Oh, Splinter Cell is just a more mature Metal Gear Solid," to kind of taunt with me because they're both stealth. I shouldn't say that they're pure stealth because they're not.
I mean, you don't get.
But
Splinter Cell doesn't.
It's more grounded in reality.
Splinter Cell doesn't give you a rocket launcher and tell you to go fight a bunch of robotic birds.
Again, it's more grounded in reality. Another thing that Splinter Cell had going for it, keyword being had, the new one doesn't have this, Michael Ironside.
Yes.
Alright,
yes.
Michael Ironside.
Very much so.
Badass.
Very much so.
Dude, Scanners was an awesome movie. Jesus, yeah. I don't know. Between Splinter Cell and Metal Gear Solid, man, I'm gonna have to go Metal Gear. just because it's not grounded in reality.
Yeah.
Because it's not super. I mean, it is realistic, but it isn't. You put
excluding Rising because
I don't like Rising. That's not a Metal Gear game.
I'm sorry.
Revengeance still isn't even a word.
Revengeance
I'm gonna
is
laugh
still not
if
a word.
Next year, when they publish another dictionary, Revengeance will be in the dictionary.
It won't.
I will then go, I give up. Mankind is dead to me.
We're done.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore. I'm signing up to colonize Mars.
Get your ass to Mars.
Yeah, get your ass to Mars.
Get your ass to Mars.
Quaid, start the reactor. Quaid. Total Recall. Great movie. Wow, we really got off topic.
We did get off topic.
Splinter Cell versus Metal Gear Solid.
Splinter Cell versus Metal Gear, all the way from...
I'm not saying that Splinter Cell doesn't have some good games, but Conviction's fucking horrible.
Oh my god. Anyway.
Yeah.
Trying to get back on topic here. But yeah.
Games
I guess we can move on to the main topic. Games that everybody dislikes that you like.
Well, we already covered Lost Planet.
We did cover Lost Planet.
That's actually I like that game a lot. I liked how it did this. You must gather heat, or you will die.
Or you die.
You mentioned Dynasty Warriors Gundam,
which
3.
from the fans of Gundam and the fans of Dynasty Warriors, which I've been a fan of Gundam for since I was old enough to realize what a robot was. There's an amazing reception and it's loved and appreciated because it's the best Gundam game series that's come out in the U.S. Which is really saying something.
That's fucking sad, actually.
It is.
The fact that a Dynasty Warriors
is
with
the
a
best
Gundam
iteration,
paint job.
And that's the best iteration of a Gundam game. Because unfortunately, even that Gundam Wing Endless Duel on Super Nintendo didn't make it to US.
Yeah, this was on the Super Famicom.
And I have a couple of Japanese Gundam games.
Yeah, because you got that one on your PSP, right?
Yeah, I have Gundam vs. Gundam Next Plus.
What, is that like a fighting game?
It's a fighting game.
Yeah.
And it's one of the best portable fighting games I've ever played.
Really?
Yes, it really is. The viewpoint and the visual style is similar to Dissidia Final Fantasy without fucking up the canon. Without fucking up a canon of an entire series, and it somehow... I don't understand any of the dialogue or anything, obviously, because I don't speak Japanese or read Japanese.
You're just there for the explosions.
I am there for the explosions and giant-ass robots.
Whoa, dude. I get the Gundam, I get RX-78. Okay, let's do this.
Exactly. And that's what I'm there for. That's the same reason I play Armored Core. So I play a lot of Armored Core.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there for the robots. Because I like me some robots.
Robots.
I like robots. And it's very saddening to me, as much as I love the Dynasty Warriors Gundam games, which all of my siblings play them with me. Because it's acceptable for them. It's okay for them to play.
Well, there's no blood, gore.
Well, exactly. My parents and I are very picky about what my siblings play. Because they're very conservative about stuff like that. And I'm okay with that. I agree with certain things. They were going to let my siblings play, or my little brother play Call of Duty. And I protested to a great degree.
Not because it's violent, just because it's a shit game.
Because it's bad. And because of certain circumstances, he was getting harassed at school because he didn't play Call of Duty. I conceded and said, okay, go ahead and just...
Can I just comment on that?
Yeah. Kids are little son of bitches.
Yeah. That is fucking wrong.
It is fucking wrong.
And it just goes to show you, kids are idiots.
Exactly.
Never trust them.
Well, because when all of this came up, I told him, I said, look, I pulled him aside.
You should be playing Super Mario Brothers.
I looked at him and I said, if anybody gives you a hard time for not playing shitty video games ever again, tell them what you do play. And tell me if they know what it is. His first-person shooter of preference is Metroid Prime 3 Corruption.
Okay.
Which, it's not exactly the sterling gem of the Metroid Prime series, because I prefer the first one. I think that was the best one that they did. But still...
Fuck Echoes.
Exactly. Fuck Echoes. Yeah. I didn't like Echoes. I would rather see him play 3 than 2.
Okay.
Greatly. But it's still better than Call of Duty. It actually has... It's actually designed like a game. And that's my biggest thing with Call of Duty is the design flaws, because I've spent the last couple of years studying special effects and game design and stuff like that, and the intention of marrying the two, making it my own shtick.
Your shtick.
My own shtick, because...
To make grade A schlock.
Exactly, grade A schlock. I want to integrate game design ideas into visual effects.
You want to make the very first snuff game. Is that what you're wanting to do?
No.
This is a snuff film! No, it's a snuff game!
And
Manhunt. Anyway,
there's a copious amount of game design sins, like blatant spell subtlety with a flamethrower and fireworks in the background sins that you can tell just are there because of laziness.
Mm-hmm.
But we got off topic again.
That's fine.
Okay.
No, I don't like any Call of Duty games.
No,
that would be the inverse.
Yeah,
games that everybody loves that I hate.
But yeah, the Dynasty Wars Gundam games, like I watched up until obtaining the third one. I had the second one for PS2, which I enjoyed the hell out of that because it had the Wing Zero in it immediately from the get-go, and I was able to use that one. And then I got the third one for 360, and you had explained to me that it was very different for the other consoles, so I'm probably eventually going to end up getting the other two as well.
The PS, because you can get the third one. The third one did come out for the PlayStation 2.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, it did. Only in Japan.
Oh, okay. That's why I couldn't find it.
It did come out, but the thing is that when you make the jump from the PS2 version to the 360 or PS3 version, they took out like half the roster for the PS2 version. So
they took out about half the roster for the second one for PS2 when it came here as well.
And here my thing about the Dynasty Warrior series is that I don't necessarily hate the games. I just hate playing them for an extended period of time. It's not a game...
I'm in the exact same boat.
Like, I played Dynasty Warriors Gundam 1 and 3 for the 360. It was not a game where I could sit there for maybe 3 hours. Like, you know how you see those warnings in the instruction manuals that says you should take a 10-minute break every hour to rest your eyes or whatever and like get up and move around?
That's never an issue with those.
Yeah, it's pretty much the perfect game to enforce that.
When I first got 3 and I saw that there was the Unicorn and the Double O Riser and a couple of the other suits that hadn't made an appearance yet, I sat down and I put myself in... I'm trying to think of who I went through with first. I put myself in pretty much the villain route, and I just plowed straight through it until I got to Death Scythe. Mm-hmm. Because with the story mode, they pair up Full Frontal, the villain from Gundam Unicorn, with Treize Kushrenada and Duo Maxwell, the pilot of Death Scythe.
We're going deep.
We are going deep. We're going deep
into like several different Gundam canons here.
Yeah, and because they partner duo with the villains, I just pushed my way through it. I sped through it as much as I could, and having unlocked Death Scythe now, I'm probably not going to make much more progress with everyone else because Death Scythe looks bitchin'. Right.
Death Scythe. Wait, in the third one, did they use Hell or regular?
It's Death Scythe Hell.
Okay.
With the shield.
Yeah.
And it looks really freaking good.
Gundam Wing is probably the most famous Gundam series in the United States.
Yeah.
Because that was the one that showed up on Toonami first back in the early 2000s, and this is like, oh my god, this is amazing!
Exactly.
Yeah, basically, came on before Dragon Ball Z.
Yep.
And then things happened, and Toonami went off the air. And then Dragon Ball Z Kai exists. A day of mourning for a country. I'm trying to think.
Sorry,
another game that I like that everybody else hates. It's a very good question.
I know it's a bit of a preemptive, but I've had a lot of people shit on Blood Dragon.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
I've had a lot of people shit on Blood
Dragon.
I've
heard nothing but positive things about Blood Dragon.
I've heard a lot of people say they didn't like it.
Weird.
Between the internet and... Because we go to different places on the internet. But between the internet and work and a couple other places, I've heard a lot of people shit on Blood Dragon. And it's unfortunate.
That's weird. Okay.
Because it was cheesy.
This is a game that I don't necessarily... I wouldn't say that I love this game, but I think I may have mentioned this. I don't know if I mentioned this in a previous podcast that we had recorded, but Aliens Colonial Marines, there's what the gaming press and what the internet says about that game, and then there's the reality of the game. These people were giving it like a 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10.
It's not deserving of anything that low.
I would have to say it probably deserves a 5. it's not as bad as the internet seems to perpetuate it to be.
Yeah.
It still has its fucking problems.
It has its flaws. It has a lot
but
of
it's nowhere
flaws,
near as... Yes, it shits on the canon of the films. Yes.
But, however, from what we played of Colonial Marines, it does shit on the canon, but it shits on the canon pretty fucking spectacularly.
I raged quit that game when we were recording on
but you went back and finished it, though.
Yeah, I did.
But,
later that night, I fired it back up. I'm like, I'm gonna at least finish it.
To be entirely honest, when we played that, yeah, it shit on the canon. It did it spectacularly, but it was fun.
It was fun. It was fun and how bad it was.
But it was fun because we do shit like this all the time.
Oh,
we play through terrible games and it's fun as hell.
Yeah, that actually reminds me of what I just said. It's fun because it's bad.
Exactly.
That reminds me of another game. The first Killzone.
It's fun because it's terrible.
I love the first Killzone game. I
did
fucking
too.
love it.
Yeah. Because it's good.
This is a game that, on a technical level, is a mess.
It's good, but it's bad.
Yep.
I'm glad you got that. It's good because it's bad.
Yeah, I mean, and we watched several movies that are so bad. Death
Oh,
Wish 4,
Death Wish 4, RoboCop 3.
Jesus Christ. God, that game, that movie, both. But yeah, I liked the first Killzone a lot.
But there was also like movie grade cheese in the first Killzone.
Yeah, like there's a line where you randomly hear a guy get hit and killed, and then you hear like his CO go, "No, not Johnson.
Exactly.
He was only a boy."
There is just this amount of cheesiness there.
Yeah. I mean, it was one. It's I'm trying to think.
Thought of another one.
All right, well, what?
Spider-Man: Web of Shadows. I know you don't personally like it too much.
Was that positively received?
It got a 5
out of
10.
Oh, so no,
not very positive.
Received.
And I like it. I really like it.
Unreal Tournament 3. For me,
yeah.
I actually like Unreal Tournament 3, despite what people. It's obviously not the original Unreal Tournament, therefore it's not as good. Yeah, it's still fun.
Yeah,
it's still fun. It's got the fun factor.
Yeah. There's a lot of at least I've had a lot of. I don't know what the what the gaming journalism side of things put Bulletstorm as. But I know for a fact Fox News actually had an article that said, "Is Bulletstorm the worst game in existence?" And by their standards, it pretty much is.
Like worst game in existence because it's violent?
Because it's violent and shit like that. And I've had a lot of people tell me it wasn't any good and stuff like that. And I love Bulletstorm.
Well, you got to keep in mind, Fox News were also the people that said that Mass Effect was porno for kids.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah. What is journalistic integrity? Find out tonight at 11. See, that's the thing. This topic is so narrow.
It is very narrow.
Because I don't have very many...
Deadly Premonition.
I haven't played it, but
It got crap reviews, and it's absolute lunacy. It's insane. Like, not like ridiculous or not like funny insane. Like, it legitimately is insane. The main character has an imaginary friend named Zach, and his coffee's a precog.
This sounds badass. I want to play this
exactly.
Now. Considering that the director's cut recently came out for the PS3.
I mean, you stumble across... You all but trip over bones from other corpses, and because it's not related to the case that your character's working on, he ignores them.
Okay.
He ignores them. And at some point during the game, to quote to quote a review for this game that I particularly enjoy, you'll find yourself thinking, "Oh, I better get home before the demonic Doberman Pinscher materializes in the middle of the highway and eats my car without a second thought."
What the fuck?
Yeah!
I want to play this now.
Exactly!
To gameplay!
There's a Doberman Pinscher that will appear in the highway big enough to eat your freaking car.
I've got one for you. And this one's going to kind of be like, what? Fallout New Vegas.
Really?
Everybody shit on that game.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And to be fair, the game didn't work very well at launch. Because I went to the midnight release for New Vegas.
you are also playing the PS3 version.
Well, no, I'm talking about this. This was back when I had my 360. I went to the midnight release for that with a friend of mine, and we were both playing it side by side.
Mm-hmm.
He got to a certain point where his game's just like, yeah, you know, I'm going to freeze now and all your saves are gone, so...
I'm going to freeze now.
I never had that problem. There were some bugs in it. Of every Bethesda game has bugs in it. And even though it is Obsidian, it's still published by Bethesda.
It's still a Bethesda game.
Yeah. Here's the thing about Bethesda games. They are not perfect. They are the furthest thing from perfect. Skyrim, full of bugs.
Bethesda also acknowledges that.
Yeah, and that's part of the fun.
Exactly.
Is the bugs.
When Oblivion came out, Bethesda said, "Go find the bugs. We will give recognition to the person who gives us the best bug."
I mean, you got this Cazador that's on the side of a canyon of New Vegas. It's just like you don't even know what's going on. This rad scorpion is like being stretched atom by atom into the sky, and you don't know why. But it's great. I love it. And I don't know. I think New Vegas is better than Fallout 3.
I have not played New Vegas extensively enough to.
The reason why I think this: New Vegas is closer to Fallout 1 and 2 than Fallout 3 is. Fallout 3 is pretty far out there compared to the first two. I loved Fallout 1 and 2. Then New Vegas comes along and it continues on story elements that were in 1 and 2.
The New California Republic and the other stuff.
New Vegas should have been Fallout 3.
You think so?
Yeah. And Fallout 3 should have been like that kind of, we're going to go to the opposite side of the country.
They could have called it like Fallout the Vault or something like that.
Fallout Independence Day. Directed by Roland Emmerich. Ow!
There are certain things we draw the line at.
Well,
we already got one of those
Fallout
movies.
America edition?
We got one of those movies. We don't need another one.
Well, too bad. There's going to be another one.
God dang it.
In fact, there's going to be at least 2 more. Roland Emmerich wants to make a series out of Independence Day. Have fun, kids! I wonder if Bill Pullman's still going to be the president. That's the only thing I care about. Is if, God, what was his name in fucking Spaceballs? Shit! I just lost my nerd cred. I'm gone. I'm done. I'm fucking done. I lost. Flew a Winnebago. I lost. I can't remember what his name is for the life of me. I can't. All I know is that John Candy, what are you doing? Barf! Get out of here. The New Vegas is an awesome Fallout game, and it's just... I appreciate Fallout 3 for going to Washington, D.C., and doing all the stuff with the political conspiracies behind the war that takes place in the Fallout universe. But New Vegas, man, like the Wild Wasteland trait is just priceless.
Which I still haven't used.
In New Vegas. That whole game is just playing on several past elements from 1 and 2.
That's bothering me now that I can't remember the name of that character.
Right? Lone Star.
There we go.
Lone Star.
Okay.
Just came to me.
There we
Stars.
go.
Nemesis.
Stars. Nemesis.
Biohazard. Death. Train of thought. What is it?
7 degrees of separation between Spaceballs and Resident Evil.
Speaking of Biohazard and Nemesis, Resident Evil 3 wasn't very well received compared to 1 and 2.
It wasn't?
No.
Oh.
It was like, oh, this game is short and is cashing in. Oh. And I like it. It's my favorite out of the ones that were on PlayStation.
Huh.
Fuck you. Middle fingers. Alternating.
Alternating middle fingers.
Do you have any more?
Not really, no. I don't know, like the big... What do you think is the biggest one for you that you enjoy the most that people shit on a lot?
Probably in recent memory, New Vegas. God, I can't really remember. See, this is such a hard topic to do.
That's why I suggested
I hate you for that.
I know you do.
Fucking hate you for that.
I think Web of Shadows sits at the top of my list.
Spider-Man Web of Shadows.
Because you know how much of a huge Spider-Man fan I am, and the ability to kind of go back and forth between the two different suits really sold it.
And to be fair, the Spider-Man games are not exactly the shining gems of gaming.
Not at all.
They never have been. They've never done anything really that groundbreaking.
And like Amazing Spider-Man, as good as it is, isn't an exception to that in any way.
Yeah. Like Shattered Dimensions.
Shattered Dimensions was great.
The only reason why I really liked Shattered Dimensions because you had the different dimensions.
Yeah.
I could play
Spider-Man
as
Noir,
Amazing.
2099, Amazing.
Yeah, 2099, which was amazing, by
Ultimate.
the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ultimate, Amazing, Noir, 2099.
Which the only one I didn't like out of the dimensions from Shattered Dimension was the Ultimate, just because it felt off.
I've never liked Ultimate Spider-Man. I never liked the game that they had for it. I just... Yeah.
I spent a lot of time in the Ultimate Spider-Man game.
Then again, I don't like the Ultimate Marvel Universe either.
You don't really have a whole lot of love for Spider-Man himself either.
Probably the only things that I like when it comes to the Ultimate Marvel Universe are Ultimates 1 and 2. Those two books. Those are great. Everything
they're well
else...
written, regardless of the fact that they messed up the art style.
Yeah, I mean, Captain America talking to the Skrull leader, pointing to his mask where at the A, screaming at him saying, "Do you think this symbol on my head stands for France?"
Yeah.
And then decking him in the
face.
You know, that's just a fantastic moment, but then Ultimates 3 happened.
Yeah.
Which was horrible.
There are well-written moments, but ultimately in the end... Ultimately in the end,
Ultimatum happened.
Exactly, and it fell short in quality and...
Magneto has Thor's hammer and has reversed the magnetic poles on Earth and is...
Whee! Anyway.
And blew up Wolverine in one hit. Completely disintegrated him. Like, yep. Because Magneto could lift Thor's hammer. Right.
Yeah.
Let me know how that goes for
Apparently.
you. Yep, let me know how that goes.
I guess. But yeah, Web of Shadows is kind of, especially with it being released right before Shattered Dimension, Edge of Time, and The Amazing Spider-Man, those were the three that came after it. It was definitely overshadowed by the ones that came after it, and the one or two that came before it, which was Spider-Man 2 and 3.
And I know that you're a Spider-Man fanboy, and I know the phone is ringing in the background, but we're going to ignore it for now.
Huge Spider-Man fanboy. I can pretty much tell you anything you want to know.
The thing about Spider-Man to me is that I do not like Peter Parker. I do not like the character of Spider-Man. But he has something going, but his set of comics has something going for him a lot like what Batman has. And that is an amazing rogues gallery.
An amazing what now?
Rogues gallery. Villains.
Yeah.
He has fantastic villains. Yeah. Green
Which they
Goblin.
screwed up. Because you just showed me this picture earlier. They screwed up Rhino.
Yeah, well, you know...
But, hey, you know, I'm going to go with it. I'm going to watch it. I'm not going to have any kind of... I'm not going to have any kind of preemptive judgments on it before I go see the second one.
Yeah, I mean, at least Jamie Foxx looks good in it.
Exactly. He looks fantastic.
Coming off of Django Unchained.
Yes.
Yes. So...
and they actually went back to the classic suit based on McFarlane's drawing with the really big eyes, which is my preference from the comic books. Is when McFarlane took over as the artist, made the eyes really big, kind of put him somewhere in between the really lanky Spider-Man and the original, where he was really kind of buff. Kind of put him somewhere in the middle, and it was kind of, in my opinion, that kind of perfect middle ground there.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that was his shining, I guess, shining point.
Yeah, well, the thing about Spider-Man is that I kind of appreciate what it did for comics because it's still a very big comic today. I just think that after a while, Peter Parker becomes a one-note character.
Yeah,
a one-trick pony.
Yeah,
it gets pretty bad.
It does, but it doesn't, because with Peter having so much intelligence as a character, they tried to later on incorporate a lot of the thought. Like with Batman, with enough preparation, Spider-Man could best any of the villains that was thrown at him. Not as efficiently as Batman, but he was able to come up with something that could best anything that you threw at him. Mm-hmm. And then I think my biggest thing with Spider-Man is, like, when I was little, I loved science, and I was a nerd.
Science!
I was, in many ways, Peter fucking Parker. Alright? I was Peter freaking Parker, okay? Minus living with aunt and uncle type deal, but...
He's nerd range!
Exactly. Alright? And then I got introduced to Spider-Man, and it was like, this guy's a nerd. He's got nothing else going for him. Everybody picks on him and regards him as nothing, or as pretty much useless. But yet, he's moonlighting as this superhero that's doing these impossible things, sticking to a freaking wall, and which I think is amazing, sticking to freaking walls and shit like that. It's fun.
Yeah, until you piss
until
your
you
pants.
piss your pants because you're afraid.
I'm
Exactly.
Nope, not doing this. Nope.
Yeah, exactly.
Crawls back down on the floor.
Yep. But that, I think, is the biggest appeal for me, is that when I was younger, much younger, because I kind of grew out of that. But I found a lot of relatability in Peter Parker.
Batman.
Yeah.
Except my parents aren't dead.
Your parents aren't dead, though.
Nope. So I kind of can't be Batman.
Yeah.
Yep.
That, and much like the appeal for Deadpool for me, because they're pretty much my two favorite Marvel characters, he's a smartass.
He breaks the fourth wall.
He breaks the fourth wall all the time, and he's a smartass.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Off-topic episode.
PWNcast,
the Schizo episode.
The Schizo episode.
The Schizo episut.
Now that I've justified my Spider-Man fanboyness.
Yeah. Web of Shadows still sucks, though.
Shut up!
Just as bad as Spider-Man 64.
Hey. I like that, actually.
Need I remind you that the movie licensed games still exist? Oh, I don't know. The second movie licensed one wasn't that bad.
The third movie licensed game was terrible.
Yep.
Which I've had a lot. Which
higher.
a lot of people were like, "Oh my god, this is so good! You can switch back and forth at will between the two suits." And then Web of Shadows comes out with the same exact shtick, and people complain about the fucker.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh well, the black suit doesn't really fit in this game." Yes, it does. It's a story. It's a plot point. You have the suit because Venom tried to eat you.
Nom nom.
Nom nom. Exactly. You took the suit from Venom, then started throwing cars at him. You actually get the suit via a legitimate reason, unlike in Spider-Man 3 the game, where you get it like you did in the movie. It's just there.
Yep.
It's on a tree in the park or something like that.
It crawls
It's
on
like,
him in his sleep.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then he turns all emo, and then he has a dance scene in a bar.
Spider-Man didn't get... That was my biggest thing with the older movies, was the third one. Spider-Man didn't go emo. Okay, Spider-Man became so fucking metal.
So metal.
He was going to basically cave in Shocker's skull against a church bell.
So he becomes the Punisher.
Pretty much. He dangles Shocker over on the bell area on a church steeple. And he says, "I will drop you if you don't tell me where she is." I think he was looking for either Gwen or Mary Jane. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Because they've changed the timeline of Gwen's death so many times. He says, "Unless you tell me where she is, I'm going to kill you."
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yep. So I think
we can pretty much wrap it up.
Yeah. This has been
so many tangents.
PWNcast, the Schizo tangent.
The Schizo tangent.
Yep. Because we didn't really have much other than bitching about things. So that and the fact that hopefully next week I'll kind of be gone all of next week. Maybe, who knows? Not sure yet. Head up to Maryland Death Fest.
Death Fest.
Yeah. So that way I can go to Maryland Death Fest to become deaf.
Yes.
Yes, that's exactly what would happen. So, until next time, let's go play Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
Let's go!
PWNcast.